Maybe, perhaps you are a woman in leadership. Maybe you're a woman in leadership, maybe you're a man in leadership, and you have found that you may struggle with being calm in those very high stakes, high pressure situations. This is a scenario that really happens to many, many leaders. And in this video, I am here to answer any questions that you have specifically as it relates to this topic. Now, staying calm under pressure as a leader is multifactorial. There are so many scenarios, aspects, strategies that all come together in that one moment where you need to project calm. And I want to answer any questions that you may have. If you are struggling with this topic, let's talk about it today on the live. Fridays are my Q&A days, and I'm here to support you any way that I can. If you happen to be new to me, welcome, welcome. And if you are one of my absolutely amazing subscribers, welcome back, friend. Good to see you here. This channel heavily focuses in on advanced communication skills and strategies that will help you stand out from everybody else as a leader. Thank you for the heart emojis. If you want to communicate more confidently and concisely under pressure, this is the best channel here on YouTube to help you learn how to master this skill. If you happen to be a woman in leadership, you will learn a tremendous amount of value here on this channel because I'm sharing information just for you. Now, if you happen to be in a situation where you are a man in leadership, or maybe you are someone who is thinking about going into leadership, then this is something that will provide you with a lot of value here on this channel. I do want to mention to you that if you happen to be a woman in leadership, I provide executive coaching and consultation services just to you. You're welcome to reach out to me at exciteexcellence.org for a executive strategy session. Or if you're really trying to change how you communicate in those very high stakes, high pressure situations, then you absolutely want to sign up for the high stakes communication intensive. It will completely change your life. Now, while I'm waiting for some questions to come in, let's talk about specifically how to remain calm under pressure. And I'm going to share with you some insights that perhaps I have not shared before in a live setting. There's a lot of videos I have on my channel that will absolutely give you some insight to learn more about staying calm under pressure. But today I want to have a bit of a different perspective, hear from you. This is Q&A day, and I want to know what are some questions that you have specifically about staying calm under pressure. Let me know in the comments below. And as we go through this process today, I will be more than happy to share with you secrets and insights that people don't talk about. So I want to say hello to those of you watching the live today. Let me know where you're joining from in the big, beautiful world today. And have you ever struggled with staying calm under pressure? Let's talk about it in the comments below. All right, we have Cat 23rd. Hello, Cat. How are you doing today? Cat says, "Hey, Doc, heart, I'm back." Welcome back, Cat. Good to see you, friend. Hope you're doing well today. All right, we have Denosity is asking, what am I saying? I'm clearly speaking English. So if you don't speak the language of English, then you may not understand what I'm saying, Denosity. All right, Cat 23rd. Oh, okay, Cat says I was sick. Cat, I hope you are feeling much better, friend. And I hope you're able to get a little bit of rest this upcoming weekend. And thank you for the high five back. So let me know what questions you all have about staying calm under pressure as a leader. And one of the things that comes up a lot of times when people are trying to figure out how to stay calm under pressure is that there's this one aspect of staying calm under pressure that people do not talk about. And thank you for the heart emojis and the smiley faces. They do not talk about the decision. Let me know in the comments below. Have you ever been in a situation where you were completely overloaded with information and you just completely just went blank? Poof, your mind just went blank. Has it ever happened to you? Has it? Because when this situation happens, oftentimes this is what can cause you to not be calm under pressure because your mind is not able to process what exactly is being said. And if you cannot process exactly what is being said because you're overwhelmed and you just completely go blank, how can you remain calm? Chaos is when people are not thinking clearly. But calmness is when people are thinking clearly. So, one of the most important secrets, this is a really big secret that a lot of people don't talk about when it comes to being calm under pressure as a leader. Before I go into it, as you know, there's a lot that goes into being calm under pressure. There's a lot that goes into it. So I'm just sharing something that people don't talk about. A lot of videos on my channel go into more detail on this. Now, if you can make a decision early on in terms of what way you want to go for this specific conversation or this specific situation, it will help you to start bringing in some calmness because it helps you to control as much of the situation as you can in this type of situation. So let me go into the chat. And if you all have questions specifically, maybe some challenges that you face in terms of being calm under pressure, or maybe you have a situation that happened to you and you just want to get some insight in terms of how you can stay calm under pressure, this is your opportunity to ask me anything this evening. I'm here to support you all on your journey, and I'm here to help you communicate more confidently and concisely under pressure. My clients invest a significant amount of money to be able to get support from me directly in a one on one setting, and I'm here to support you on YouTube just to help you on your journey. So feel free to ask me the questions while I'm here. I'm here to help you any way that I can. Let me know where you all are joining from in the big, beautiful world today as well. All right, let me go back to the chat. Dinosity says, I'm English. Okay, so what I'm talking about, Dinosity, and I'll clarify it, is I'm talking, the title of the live is How to Speak Calmly Under Pressure as a Leader. If you come to my live, and I'm glad that you're here and I'm glad that you stopped by, but if you're saying words like what in the bleep am I talking about, then I'm going to respond in a way that is going to be very, very direct, which is why I said I was speaking English. I'm glad that you're communicating English as well, and that's your language. That's fine. Just know this is a bit of a different live. I haven't seen you before. This is definitely more of a live for the very professional group. I'm not here cursing. I don't expect to see cursing, and that's just me. I'm not going to block you from the channel, but I just want to let you know these are the expectations of my channel. I'm here to help people actually change their lives and be able to communicate at a higher level than their peers so that they can be able to accomplish those very big goals and big dreams that they need to do in their life. We have unknown. I am 121. Hello, how you doing today? Let's see. My heart is overloaded with information when I look at you. Well, I hope you learned something here, unknown, but I'm glad you're able to stop by today. We have Tash Friend Shahid 3015 says, I like you and your outfit. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, Cat 23rd says, key principle. Calm isn't the absence of stress. It's the ability to function effectively while stressed. Yes, Cat, that is a really great insight. And I appreciate you mentioning that. You don't need to feel peaceful. You need to stay clear headed enough to choose your response. Kat, that is fantastic. I appreciate you mentioning that. And what Kat mentioned, and Kat is one of our amazing subscribers on the channel, is that you have to be able to bring in some control in these situations and being decisive and making the best decisions with the information that you have is the absolute best way for you to be able to do that. This is how you can learn how to communicate under pressure. There has to be this part of your thought process where you have to understand that yes, the fires can be burning, the building could be on fire and all these things, but you have to be calm in that moment. You have to be calm in those moments because if you're not calm, then you'll tend to panic, and then that's where you completely lose your calmness under pressure. That's just a secret I want to share. Okay, let's see. Cat 23rd says, rather than react on autopilot. Yes. And Cat, that's a lot of times what happens to people is that they react in autopilot mode. And sometimes they just go off on people for whatever reason. And they just do it because it's just an automatic reaction where they don't know how to process it. But this is the reason why I'm mentioning this to you because I can tell you how to find your triggers when you get upset. I can tell you the right way you need to say something. I can tell you how to maintain eye contact. I can tell you anything to be able to communicate and function as a leader in those very under pressure situations. But the one part about it that a lot of people don't talk about, and why I'm mentioning it is because you have to make a decision. If it's chaos, what's the problem? What is it? Do I need to do this? Do I need to do that? Same thing when you're in a, let's say, in a hard situation. Maybe you're having a difficult conversation with someone. Maybe you are in a salary negotiation, or you're about to do something that you're just not quite sure how it's going to work out. All those situations can come up. But I talked about this a lot on my channel. You have to be able to make those decisions really quickly. You have to determine, is this a friendly situation, or this is a not friendly situation? Or is it in between where I just really don't know if this is going to work out well or if this is going to be really hard? You have to decide quickly. That helps you to determine what path you need to go, how you need to get your information together, etc. Now, I will share with you, if we have time, I'll share with you what I have done many times when it's very much in challenging situations. I'll share with you my thought process in terms of how I make decisions and how I relay the information if we have time. Okay, Dinosity says, sorry. Okay, no problem, Dinosity. Sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, that's all right, Dinosity. Well, hey, as I said, I didn't hide you from the channel because I didn't feel like, and this is a thing, Denosity, I'm going to mention this as an example. When we're live on YouTube, Denosity, I know you're new here, so welcome, welcome. Now we got that all out the way. What happens on YouTube is that, unfortunately, as the audience grows, because I have 865 subscribers right now, I'm right at the first big milestone on YouTube at 1,000. But as we grow, so do the trolls. And what happens a lot of times in Audacity is people will come on the lives and they'll say words, or they may say something that seems a bit odd, and we're not quite sure of where they're going with or what their intent is. And for me, one of the ways that I respond, it depends on the context, and I'll respond accordingly depending on what's going on. Now that I know that that was not your intent, you're just trying to see what was going on, no problem. We understand and we're here, and I hope that you learned some really great information here that will help you on your journey to figure everything out. Okay, Dinosity says, bro, you're right. Anyways, you're right. Okay, well, I appreciate that, Dinosity. But let's talk about it. Tell me about some times when you've been in some challenging situations and you were in a pressure situation and maybe you remained really calm. What can you share with the rest of our audience that may be watching now or watching the replay here very soon? Or maybe you had a situation come up where you were not calm and you were panicked. How did you respond? Let me give you an example of what I have done and what my process is when there's chaos that happens. This will hopefully give you some insight in terms of why this one secret I'm mentioning to you can change how you can start being more calm under pressure. One of the things that I do whenever I'm given information and it's chaos, something bad, catastrophically bad is happening, the first thing I do, the first question, and I mean this in all sincerity, this is exactly what I do. The first question I ask myself, is this a fire or is this smoke? Is this really an issue, or is this something I can deal with later? Number one, because just as you all are present here, and thank you for the heart emojis, your time is very valuable, especially if you're one of my amazing subscribers, of course, and anybody watching this content. Your time is valuable, and you have to be able to determine, am I going to deal with this now or am I not? And that's literally the first question. Is this urgent? Is this urgent? Do I need to deal with this now, or can I deal with this later? That's the first decision I make. I'm bringing control. So when things are chaotic and everything's everywhere, I'm sharing with you how you can start to bring that chaos down where things are starting to become more under control. Instead of it being a rapid boil, I would say, like you're boiling spaghetti or boiling pasta, let's bring it down to a simmer like you're cooking some chili or something. So bring things down. Bring things down when they feel out like they're out of control. So first I say, is this urgent? Do I need to deal with this now? Okay. If it is urgent and I need to deal with this now, I'm just sharing with you what I do. If it's very, very urgent, then I will say, what's going on? And I will have the person come to me and talk to me specifically about what's going on. And if I feel the least little bit, that I know this person and they could potentially be exaggerating the situation to make it much worse than what it is, I will find whoever it is that I believe may be able to give me the real situation. Sometimes, and let me know if you all have dealt with people like this. Sometimes when you have those chaotic situations that come up as a leader, you find yourself in a situation where everybody is the sky's falling, right? The sky's falling, the sky's falling. And it's hard for you as a leader to make those very decisive decisions in order for you to make the best outcome if you have somebody telling you just the most exaggerated information. So I find out who that person is that can tell me really what's going on. Because usually that person is a bit more level headed. They're maybe a bit more calm. They may be panicked, but they may be a bit more calmer in a way to where they can actually tell me what the problem is. Once I find out what the problem is, then I determine what other information do I need to gather? Do I need to talk to somebody else? Do I need to call someone else? What do I need to do? And then from there, I take a moment to determine this is the best course of action. And this is why staying calm under pressure has so much that goes into it. It's how you communicate, how you speak, how you conduct yourself, how you process information. But the most important part of it is the decision. You have to make a decision in terms of what are we doing here, and do I need to deal with this right now, or do I need to deal with it later? If you can start mastering this, and remember, the decision is important here. Anytime you're in chaos, the decision is important. And think of it in the way I shared with you. Is this urgent or is this not urgent? Is this a fire or is this smoke? That's that's what's going on. You have to make that determination. All right, let's go back into the chat. Okay, Kat says at Denosity, basically what Doc is saying is that you can be free to talk, but be respectful and don't disrupt. Okay, fantastic. That's correct. Donosity is telling a little bit about age. Okay, Kat says scan for immediate safety first, then options, then resources. This sequential focus prevents freeze responses. Absolutely. And there's different depths to freeze responses. So I want to say hello to all of you watching the live today. Let me know where you're joining from in the big, beautiful world today. I've been in multiple situations. I've been in situations where I've had to make crisis decisions that threaten my life. Because I had to. And then I've been in situations where my life has not been threatened. And I have been in a situation where I've just dealt with crisis situations that come up as a C-suite executive or as a director. So there's different ways you can go about it. And as Kat mentioned, you have to think of safety first. I'll tell you all about an example or situation that happened to me many, many years ago. And I'll tell you why safety first is something that is actually very important. We'll go into that if I have time to. Adam 99, welcome back, Adam. Good to see you again, friend. Adam says, hey, Doc, how have you been? Adam, I am doing fantastic, friend. Hope you are doing well also. So glad to see you all here today on the live. Let me know what are some challenging situations that you have been in as a leader, and let's talk about them. Let's talk about some times where perhaps you've been really calm under pressure and times when you have not been calm under pressure. I'll give you an example of a time when I was calm under pressure that factors into safety first. As I mentioned, there's different situations where you're going to be dealing with pressure. One of them could be in an environmental type of setting. Many years ago, I was in dental school, and we were in a situation where there was an accident that happened on the road. Now, before I go back into what actually happened during that time, I took a class with at that time with Homeland Security, and this is something I literally took. I believe it might have been the day before, and I didn't have to take the class. I didn't need to take the class, but I've always been more geared to what do you do in an emergency? How do you handle emergencies, and etc. And what I did was the first thing I learned in this situation. Now, this is more of a under pressure situation, like your life is in danger. If what I did in that situation when I learned from Homeland Security, it was just a instructional course they had about dealing with emergencies, like how do you deal with them? What do you do with threats and things like that? I learned that you have to assess the situation. Number one, you have to assess the situation. You have to have the ability to look around and see what's going on. Who's doing this? Who's doing that? And you can't look around just by looking. Remember, I mentioned to you on the channel, looking and observing, which is factors into how you can read people. I mentioned they are two totally different communication strategies. Looking is you just looking at somebody, but observing is you take paying attention to what's going on. So that was the first thing I learned was assess the situation, assess the situation, assess the situation. And what happened in this particular instance was that we were driving down the road, me and some of my classmates, and there was a car that apparently was in an accident and the car was on fire. And so we pulled over because we're all obviously we're in healthcare, we were in dental school at the time, but we're all in healthcare and we see a burning car on the side of the road. We just intuitively we say, how can we go in here and help this person out? What's going on? And so we got out of the car. Me and my classmate, we ran to the car and the car was on fire. And I don't, while I was running to the car, I remember what they said in Homeland Security is you have to assess the situation. Okay, there was no other cars that right there. I was able to run. The car's on fire, and me and my classmates said, "Let's try to get this man out the car." Because ultimately, what happened is the car got in some. I don't know what. I don't even remember how it was an accident. I just remember driving by, and we ran to the car, and we saw that one of the driver was out of the car, but the passenger was not out of the car. The passenger was not unconscious. They were at a place where they just were not as conscious as they normally would be. They were still okay, but they were just not able to really move. I think maybe they were just dazed, confused. They were just laying back. Anyways, me and my classmate was able to get this man and drag him out of the car and put him to the side of the road. When we got there, we had a couple people that were already trained in EMS, just like we are, and we didn't need to give the individual mouth to mouth CPR or anything like that because they were still had very shallow breathing, but they were okay. Now, this is the other part about assessing the situation, why you have to make decisions. Typically, when you pull somebody out of the car, you don't want to move them because you don't know what type of injuries they've had. Have they had a spinal injury or what happened? But what happened in this case is that I told one of my classmates at the time, I said, you need to call 911, which they did call and they were kind of freaking out. And this is what happens when you're under pressure. You can't make decisions and things are in panic. So I had one of my classmates call 911 really quickly, call them because this is on an interstate highway. I'm sure people had called, but you always still want to call 911 just in case, even if it's multiple people that's calling 911. But the concern I had personally, and I told the people that was around me, I said, what if this car blows up? The car was already on fire and we had ran a good distance away from the car, but that good distance was not distance enough. So I told the people with me, I said, we need to move back because the car is still on fire. No one's in the car, but what if this car explodes? Then all of us are gone. And so we didn't really want to move the patient, but we ended up trying to slide. We slid down a little bit in the event that if this car wasn't going to explode, this is what happens. So I share this with you because this is how you start to think under pressure. You have to be very observant about what's going on and you have to make decisions. You have to make the decision that I'm going to remain calm. I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to do the best that I can. If you don't make that decision, it will make it very, very difficult for you to be able to remain calm under pressure because you simply can't think. And if you can't think, then your default response, as Kat mentioned, is you may go into a more emotional type of state where you freak out. And as I mentioned, at that time, the other person that was with me was freaking out because it was like, okay, there's a car burning, there's a person that just drove out of the car that was on fire, and now I got to call 911. It's just you have to be calm under pressure. I share this because this is something that I have not shared with many people. Some of my classmates know it, my dean of my school knows it. A few people know about it, but I felt like this is relevant to help you to start thinking about being under pressure. Now, this is a real life situation where my life was threatened. The same process goes for the situations when you are speaking and you're communicating and you're under pressure. You have to make a decision and assess the situation, what's going on, get as much data as you can, and make the best decision that you can in that situation. So I hope that gives you some insight and some things to really think about and consider if you are ever in these under pressure situations. This is why, friends, I take high stakes communication so seriously. I have been in high stakes situations. I know what it's like. I know what real high stakes situation feels like, and I know what average high stakes situation feels like. And that's why learning how to communicate when you are in those situations will be the make or break for your career, and it will help you to move forward, or it may cause you to stay stagnant in your career. So let me go into the chat, see if there's anything else. Denosity says, "Sorry, doc, I'm not talking to you." Okay, no problem, Denosity. I appreciate you letting me know. We're okay. Everything's fine. Now, let me know what questions you all have as it relates to this particular situation when it comes to communicating under pressure. I'm here to support you in any way that I can in these topics. That's just one of the many, 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 many under pressure situations that I have personally been in. And I want you all to be able to manage those situations in a way to where you do not completely go blank when they happen. Most people do. Most people will go blank when they're under pressure. And if you watch my content or you're subscribed to my channel, I want you to be that person that is the leader that can remain calm in those situations. So let me know what other questions you have. I will mention a couple things very briefly for the channel. We are really close to 1,000 subscribers. That is a tremendous milestone here on YouTube. I appreciate each and every one of you who come by and watch the lives. Of course, I appreciate you all for subscribing. For those of you who have not subscribed yet and you're just getting a feel for me, I appreciate you being here nonetheless. I appreciate all my audience being here, Kat and Adam being here also. I appreciate you being here and giving great insights as always, because you help the audience grow, you help the community grow. And my mission here really is to help you communicate more confidently and concisely under pressure, regardless of what situation that you're in or where you are located in the world. But I also want to truly build the largest high stakes, high pressure communication content library on planet Earth for leaders here. And every day we go live, every day we engage, and every day we have conversations is always an amazing opportunity for us to be able to do something like that. So I appreciate you all so much for being here. My high stakes communication ebook is on the way. I am working on it as fast as I can to make sure I have this prepared for you all, because I'm going to put together something just to get you started that you can consider as being checklists or areas that you may want to work on as it relates to communicating in those very high stakes situations. I am in the process of actually transitioning my current CRM into a new CRM, which is the only reason why there's a bit of a delay on the high stakes communication free ebook that I'm making, because I have to create the landing page for it and get things where it needs to be and all of that. So I'm getting it all together for you, and I'm here to make sure that you get the information you need so that you can communicate in those under pressure like situations. I will be live next week. If you're new to me, I go relatively live here on YouTube at least 7 times a week. I go live on YouTube, and I will be back live again next Tuesday morning and in the evening, and we'll go on from there. I hope you all have an absolutely amazing day, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye for now.